17-year-old Charles Williams loved weekends at Washington City Park. It was the perfect escape for him and his dad, Mayor Michael Williams, who cherished their bonding moments. On this sunny Saturday afternoon, the park was buzzing with families enjoying picnics, children playing tag, and laughter echoing from the playground. Charles clutched his basketball, scanning the court for an open hoop. He'd been practicing his jump shot all week and couldn't wait to show off his skills. As he sat on a bench waiting for his friends, Officer Rachel Stevens approached him. "Hey, kid! What do you think you're doing?" Rachel asked. Charles stopped mid-dribble and looked up, puzzled by her aggressive tone. "I'm just going to shoot some hoops," Charles replied politely, pointing to the empty side of the court. His youthful excitement dimmed slightly as he noticed her disapproving glare. Rachel's eyes narrowed as she glanced around the park. "This isn't a place for kids like you," she snapped. "Go find somewhere else to play." Charles frowned, confused. "But the sign says it's open to everyone," he said, pointing to the park's rules prominently displayed near the entrance. His innocence was met with a cold stare. Her hand rested on her holster as she stepped closer, her shadow looming over him. "Don't argue with me. Leave now, or I'll have to escort you out." Tears welled up in Charles's eyes, but he stood his ground. "I'm not doing anything wrong," he said softly with a trembling voice. "My dad says the park belongs to the city, and I'm part of the city too." Rachel's patience snapped. She firmly grabbed Charles's arm, dragging him towards the park's entrance. Bystanders watched in shock, murmuring among themselves but too afraid to intervene. Charles's basketball bounced away, forgotten in the commotion. "You'll thank me for this later," Rachel muttered under her breath. "This isn't your playground." Unbeknownst to Rachel, one of the bystanders had already dialed the mayor's office, reporting the incident. Mayor Williams, who had been taking a walk nearby, received the call and rushed to the scene. As Rachel escorted Charles out of the park, a red car screeched to a halt by the curb. Out stepped Michael Williams, tall and imposing. "What's going on here?" he asked in a calm but firm voice. Rachel straightened, her grip still on Charles's arm. "Sir, this child was causing trouble in the park. I'm removing him for everyone's safety." Michael's eyes moved to his son, who looked up with a mix of relief and fear. "Trouble? My son? What exactly did he do?" Rachel's confidence faltered immediately under his piercing gaze. "Well, he was being disruptive. These parks are..." She hesitated, searching for the right words. "They're not always safe for everyone." "Are you suggesting my son is a threat?" Michael asked, stepping closer. His calm tone carried an edge that made Rachel shift uncomfortably. The crowd now became larger, watching with bated breath. "I didn't mean it like that," she stammered. "I was just following protocol." Michael turned to the growing crowd. "Did anyone here see my son causing any trouble?" he asked. Voices rose in unison. "No, Mayor Williams. He was just playing basketball. That officer grabbed him for no reason." Michael faced Rachel. "It seems your version of events doesn't match the truth. Release my son immediately." Rachel reluctantly let go, her face flushing with embarrassment. "I didn't know he was your son," she said with a soft voice now. "It shouldn't matter who he is," Michael retorted. "Every child deserves respect. Your behavior today was unacceptable." The crowd murmured in agreement, their anger towards Rachel growing. Phones recorded the scene, ensuring her actions would not go unnoticed. Michael placed a protective arm around Charles. By the time Michael and Charles returned home, city officials were already discussing Rachel's actions. Michael, determined to set an example, ordered an immediate review of her conduct. The mayor's office released a statement emphasizing the city's commitment to justice and equality. Meanwhile, Rachel's day took an unexpected turn. As she returned to her patrol car, she was met by her supervisor, Chief Johnson, who had been alerted by multiple complaints from park visitors. "Officer Stevens, we need to talk," he said sternly, his authoritative tone leaving no room for argument. "Step out of the vehicle," he continued. Rachel complied, her confidence draining with every second. "Chief, I was just doing my job," she began with a defensive voice. "Your job does not include targeting innocent children," Chief Johnson interrupted. "Your actions today were not only inappropriate but have brought disgrace to this department." Rachel's protests were cut short as Johnson handed her a suspension notice. "You're relieved of duty, effective immediately. An internal investigation will determine your future here." As Rachel watched her badge and gun being taken away, the weight of her actions finally hit her. Her career, once a symbol of pride, was now overshadowed by shame and regret. She had underestimated the power of fairness and justice, and now she was paying the price. The next city council meeting was packed. Residents demanded accountability, and Michael Williams took the opportunity to address the crowd. The energy in the room was electric, a collective demand for change. "What happened to my son was unacceptable," he began. "But this isn't just about Charles. It's about every child who has been mistreated, every voice that has gone unheard. Today, we take a stand against prejudice in all its forms." The crowd erupted in applause as Michael announced new training programs for law enforcement, focusing on community relations and implicit bias. Rachel, now jobless and humbled, watched from the back, realizing how her own prejudices had led to her downfall. She stayed long after the meeting ended, reflecting on the choices that had brought her to this moment. Weeks later, Charles returned to the park, greeted warmly by other children and adults. As he dribbled his basketball, he noticed Rachel sitting on a bench, looking lost. Gathering his courage, he walked over. "Hi, Miss Rachel," he said softly. "Do you want to shoot some hoops?" Rachel looked up, surprised by his kindness. With a small smile, she nodded. Together they played. For Charles, it was a step towards forgiveness. For Rachel, it was a chance to start anew. This brings us to the end of this story. Thank you for watching the video to the end. Kindly subscribe for more thrilling stories. Like and share this video. Have a nice day.